Oh my god, guys, I just recorded a 10-minute video and nothing saved. This is driving me up the wall. I'm going to summarize the video that I just recorded that wasn't saved as best I can because I'm really mad now. It won't be as long as my original video, but I think it's important to say. So, I don't think the author will like me very much, but I think there's two options. Either the author is a guy who just wanted to talk about societal issues and the way men and women and people are treated in society and are sexualized by society, or he's an asshole, and I don't think there's anyone in between, which is, you know, it's something. I like the way that the main character is treated in the book. I think that he is written as a out-of-control man who is dealing with trauma. He's dealing with his own out-of-control behaviors. He's dealing with his own out-of-control thoughts. I think, in summary, I feel like the man is more of the manic character in this book than the girl is. The girl actually seems fairly in control. Like, she obviously is having problems, but I think he's the main one having problems, and I like that. I think that the three different sections of the book, the main present tense story with the main character who's super out of control and the manic pixie EGirl, I feel like that storyline is the best one. That should have been the whole book. There is also a kind of historical text, like fake historical text about manifesting, which is interesting as its own, but it's almost like should be a handbook that comes along with the main book. It shouldn't be like part of the main book. And then there's an allegory that's kind of thrown in randomly, and it does connect by the end of the book, but I also feel like it could have been a separate companion book or guidebook to reading the original story, like a preface or like a guidebook, like a handbook. Like, it doesn't have to be in the middle of the book while I'm trying to get invested in the main plot. I think it's very easy to put this down initially, like, to pick it up and then put it down instantly as like a ew, ick, I don't want to read about this guy's an asshole, this guy's gross, ew, a man, because that's really how this is written. He is like the worst of men. Like, you look at this and you go, wow, I would not want to know this guy, I would not want to be near this guy is icky. And all of the women pretty much in this book end up in some way feeling that way. His ex ends up feeling that way, his therapist ends up feeling that way. Like, all the women react very negatively to him in the book. But he's going to therapy, he's trying to deal with it, he recognizes that he has a problem and he's trying to fix it. These are good things. I think it's funny how there's little bits of science that are overly explained in the book because it's literally mansplaining, and it makes you hate the main character so much, and I think that's intentional. Again, important to separate the narrator from the author, because I do think they are two very separate people. Obviously, authors take a lot of inspiration from their own lives when they write books, but I think it's unfair to assume that the narrator is a direct replica of the author, because I saw a lot of people online being like, ew, this is disgusting, it's written by a really icky man. It's like, yes, it's written by a man, and the narrator's icky, but I feel like there has to be some separation. Chapter 63 is one of the most difficult parts of the book. It is very thought-provoking, and it's traumatic, and it explains a lot about the rest of the book. And this is why it's incredibly important to stick with the book long term, because if you start making a judgment from the beginning, like, I would have put it down within the first chapter, because it starts off so weird, and then it gets really weird, and then by the end, you kind of understand where the guy's coming from. Like, it's not acceptable, and it's not a justification for, like, what he's doing, but at the same time, he recognizes he has a problem, we recognize he has a problem, it's very clearly shown that he has a problem. Like, whatever. I think this book does a really good job of showing the intersection between the way men are perceived in society, the way traditionally feminine presenting women are perceived in society, and we're talking about the extremes, the ultra masculine and the ultra feminine. We're not talking about the entire spectrum, and I don't think it has to talk about the entire spectrum, because sometimes it's good to focus on one issue, and this is the issue that he chose. I understand that I might be coming across as pick-me, but it's very difficult to talk about this subject without being considered a pick-me, because I feel like a lot of people online were just like going super aggro into this book, and I'm being a little bit more nuanced. I just want to give this book a honest rating, which is that I don't think it's the best book ever written, but I don't think it's because the author is a scummy person. I just think it's because it's a little bit jumbled and a little bit off kilter, and I feel like if it was sorted a little bit better, if all like the different flashes of like manifestation, main plot, and allegory were all like separated out, I feel like it would have been a lot more digestible. As it is, I feel like I had a lot of laughs. I'm gonna throw in some quotes because some of them just made me laugh out loud and were like really relatable. If you want to fight me in the comments, if you read this book and you disagree with me, that's completely fine. I kind of want to hear your thoughts. I don't know. I had a lot of feelings about this book. I have a lot of credibility because I understand a lot of what's going on in the book. I'm not going to list all of my credentials here. I have mental health problems. I'm not going to go into the rest of it. But just know, like, it's pretty realistic. Besides the manifestation part, besides like, I mean, cults are fascinating to me, like the idea that people can be indoctrinated, and also the intersection of like indoctrination and cults and the internet, fascinating. Do I wish it had been written a little bit better? Yes, but there's a lot of good lines, there's a lot of funny parts, there's a lot of really like validating parts. I feel like women are not often portrayed as sexual, like it's usually the man, and so it was kind of nice to see women being driven by hormones in a way. And also the intersection of trauma and sexuality was really interesting. So I'm giving it some credit. I'm gonna let the quotes be here. Enjoy. Otherwise, let me know what you think, because I'm glad I read this book, even if it wasn't like the best book I've ever read. And also to the author, just know, I'm happy I read the book. I'm sorry for my harsh critiques. I just wanted to give it a fair review since I was seeing a lot of jumping to conclusions on TikTok. And I know it's meant to be thought-provoking or drama-inspiring, but you did that well. Good job.